Hello, guys, and welcome back to episode 8 of MLC Talk, powered by Willow Sports. And we have the cowboy hat on because it's almost the end of the ride. But what a challenger we just saw, guys, where the Texas Super Kings fall short yet again in this game. They can't get past it. Z, what a game we just saw.
Unreal game. Like, I thought the last game was super exciting, which I think it was probably the most exciting game of the season, but this one was up there. I mean, let's just take a step back. How insane is it that MI New York is in the final? Like, who would have guessed that? Forget the beginning of the season. Who would have guessed that like 2 days ago?
It's like a carbon copy of the first season, really. Like, they struggled early on, then they came on hot at the end of the season. We know they're capable of it. They've done it before. We've yet to see the best from Nicholas Pooran. This is the thing that's, to me, it's like they could very well win this game if Nick Pooran has a Nick Pooran final. His strike rate is ridiculously low for him right now. Yeah, there's so many things that could happen. It's really exciting, honestly. I mean, it's a shame that Texas lost in front of their home crowd. I was kind of pulling for them, to be honest, but I'm not that surprised in retrospect.
You said, Nate, it might be 2023 all over again. Let's jump straight into the first innings of this game. And for me personally, the story of this first innings, the story of MI New York, they're a team that truly feels like they could get contributions from anyone at any time. The only 5 wickets coming from this team, Tristan Noose, the 19-year-old South African, and then our very own Rushil Agarkar, the 22-year-old American, and that bat of Simon Kamala was an absolute beauty. Probably my favorite ball of the season in terms of just what it did. Z, take me through the first innings with Sadati.
Yeah, I mean, I think you touched on it, right? Like, so shocker of shockers, I believe TSK lost the toss. And I got put in first. Who'd have thunk? But yeah, it was a story of, at least, especially the first part of the first innings, was a story of Faf anchoring, Faf holding steady, and batters around him falling like flies, right? Smith went for 9, Sai and Shubham went for 1 each, and Marcus Stoinis went for 6, right? So it was international and domestic. And I think Faf looked like he was in great form, but he had to be less aggressive. He went from being Faf to pulling back a little bit on his strike rate. In the end, he struck at 140 before Tristan got him out and Nosh caught him out. That was the first part. We talk about the partnership at the end that basically saved them, because we were talking about, like, are they going to get to 140? Are they going to cross 130? Because really early on there, it looked like the ball might have been doing a lot. They weren't scoring big. And then, then Akil and Donovan came in and did their thing. Nate, I mean, you were probably watching that partnership really closely.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, at that point, Akil Hussain, that was his first half century, right? Anything could have happened there. Donovan Ferreira, we know he likes to go big, but Akil Hussain saved the innings, gave them a really good chance. The domestic batting, as you mentioned, totally failed. But for the second game in a row, interestingly, the comeback was spurred on by a poor over from Nosh Kenjige. This time the 15th over that went for 15 runs. Up until that point, it looked like this was going to be a very low total from TSK. We knew they had the batting depth, and honestly, hats off to them for getting where they have this season by losing the toss every stinking time. But the conditions, we mentioned the conditions last time, how they're going to play into the game. This was not a toss you wanted to lose. And I think, as you said, Faf anchored it with his experience and with his form. He's in incredible form. And then Akil Hussain came in. We saw he's just such a clutch cricketer. We never got to Calvin Savage. But yeah, this 166 looked very, very defendable.
You mentioned conditions there, Nate. I was talking to Rushil Agarkar after the game, and he said that the pitch was just that touch drier than it typically was. Dave Agnew was saying that they weren't able to get water into the wicket before the game, so there was puffs of dust as they were bowling early. So Rushil said the plan initially was to hit the deck hard and try to get the ball to jump. But once they saw the dust puffing up, they realize they have to go hit the seam and get the ball to nip around. And that's what led to the wicket of Simon Kamara. That's why Faf du Plessis couldn't go and try to accelerate, because the wicket just played those extra few bits of tricks. And I actually really enjoy that fact because it evens the game out. But you knew, like you said, conditions will play a factor. And that second innings, what do we often talk about? The dew factor coming in. So even with 166 being below par, you take into the account, oh, we're playing in a challenger. Okay, maybe this means that things have evened out. But dew, that early seems to be such a thing here in Grand Prairie. And we will get into that second innings when we get back. But the first innings of 166 for 5, Texas fans, they sat there and they were swallowing their whistles just a bit. When we talked about that first innings with the Texas Super Kings, they came out needing 167 from their 20 overs to win the game. And I thought they might have changed their opening pair, but they didn't. They kept and backed Monank Patel, and Zee, did he reward them?
Oh my gosh, right? Once again, like how many times have we seen it this season? Semi-surprisingly, QDK got out for a very low total, right? He was 6 off 8. And Bracewell, right, got out for 8. But you had Monank in there early on, anchoring the first part of the innings. And I mean, Monank's been playing like the cricket of his life this tournament, right? He has had high score after high score, right? He's just shy of the top run scorer. And if he does anything in the final, he'll end up as the top run scorer of the tournament. And he deserves, all the accolades he's getting. We've never seen him play this good. Not just good, but smart. He knew what was going around him. And he was striking a little low to anchor the innings, but he still had 7 boundaries, right? So he was taking the shots off bad balls when he could. And he was just like, I know what we need to do in this chase, and I'm going to do it.
Now, we saw Michael Bracewell come at 3. I was rather surprised by that fact because of the way they picked their team. I thought Pooran would have opened, but there were talks about him maybe not wanting to see the new ball. So then when I look down their 11, they dropped Heath Richards to bring in a Gunarjeet Singh. And I thought, okay, that makes sense. If you lose the early wicket, that's where Gunarjeet Singh comes in. You opened with him in the past. And then they sent to Bracewell. It felt like they just wanted that little bit of experience over Gunarjeet. But it all worked out because Kieron Pollard and Nicholas Nate had an unbelievable partnership at the end.
Phenomenal partnership. There were chances missed there by Texas, though, unfortunately for them. But Kieron Pollard is just such a both of these guys can take the game away. We saw what Nick Pooran did in the final in the first season. Kieron Pollard, we see what he does 700 times. Now that he's played the most T20s of anybody in history, but 47 off 22 on this. It didn't go without chances. He skied it a few times. And they were difficult catches, but Texas had to take one of those catches. They had to take one of those to have a chance to win, because as you mentioned, Aaman, with the way that they did their batting order, you get Kieron Pollard out of there, you pretty much only have to worry about Nick Pooran, because at this particular point in the innings, you need somebody to go hard. Now, like I said, they needed to take their catches. Calvin Savage took a huge catch of Quinton de Kock earlier in the innings. Very difficult one. You saw he almost even dropped it, but if he had, you couldn't have blamed them, because of the effort and the difficulty of that catch. And I think that catch was every bit as difficult as the drops that they had, or not even the drops, just not getting to the ball. I think the Zia Ulhawk, when you saw the wind leave their sails when he couldn't get to that ball. And it looked like at that point they were just going to lose, and that's what happened.
Yeah, no question. And I look at also what Texas could have done. And this game, to me, really was more about how New York played incredibly well and how Pollard and Pooran was batting on a different wicket, it felt. But the one thing I would have liked to have seen was probably Nur Ahmed more often. I thought that they spaced his overs out too much. I wanted him to go right at Nicholas Pooran early. Pooran has struggled against Nur Ahmed in the past, and he bowled over 6 and then bowled over 10. And you just thought, just get him in, get him 4 straight, and get after Nicholas Pooran, because that's your game. Paulie hit him for a massive 6, but I thought that was an opportunity missed, but really, see, I felt this was a story more about New York than it was Texas. Would you agree with that, or is there something else that you see?
So, I mean, it was about Nicky P and Paulie doing what they know they can, and what we all knew they can, and we've seen them do their careers, but haven't really done this season, right? that was it. It's like Nick saying, once that partnership kicked in, it was just, you know, it looked inevitable, right? Sitting in the stadium when they started hitting boundaries too, right? Almost at will. Then you were like, they've got this. This is done. This is the Pooran of the IPL. This is not the Pooran of the 2025 MLC. And you could feel, and I was talking to, one of the guests of the league who's come in from England, who's played himself, like he played with Mitchell Stark, he works in cricket. We were both saying, like, you could just feel the deflation of the TSK players on the field, like knowing that it was slipping away from them because there was nothing they could do.
Yeah, you could. And I'll tell you what, Nick Pooran, one of the things that he did, just his presence in the game, we saw 3 overs from Akil Hussain for 11 runs. Once
Yep.
you get Pooran and Pollard together, Akil Hussain's probably not going to bowl in that situation, and he is such a difference maker. But you get one of those two guys out, and you get Pooran out, especially, then Akil Hussain can come in maybe 16th, 17th over or something, and that's the door. It's closed right there.
You know what's funny is in the press conference, Paulie was asked about that, and he was like, "Look, man, we all know each other so well." He was like, "Nicky P keeps for Akil when he's bowling in club cricket. Like, we know all his tricks, we know everything, we knew what we need to do." And they weren't going to bring him on when the two of us were there because we knew what we could do to him. And so you were right. They neutralized him. I was a little surprised that Ferreira, didn't have a better over. He had the 1 over, got smacked around a little bit, and they didn't bring him back, right? We've seen him earlier in the tournament be effective. And I think that was something in the bowling attack that kind of faltered. I think, the others are fine. Nur Ahmed had a decent game, right? He took a wicket there. Stoinis was a little expensive. Their bowling didn't really click, other than Akil's stingy overs. Their bowling didn't click the way that we've seen them earlier in the season.
Yeah, and because of that, it means New York, they're headed back to their second ever final to face the Washington Freedom. Like we said, one last ride here in MLC 2025, and it's the Washington Freedom taking on MI New York to crown who will be the first 2-time champion of MLC. Nate, what are you looking at in this game?
Well, it's almost like a Super League final. You have the first season's champion and the second season's champion meeting here. This is really pretty awesome stuff. But yeah, I like right now, I think we talked all season long about how New York kind of struggled to find the right combination for bowling. I think an interesting thing is we haven't seen the best from their batting yet, and their bowling seems to be heating up, especially the chances that Rushil Ugarkar has gotten have paid off for them big time. The fact that they stuck with him even after a couple of tough overs early on in the season. Yesterday, his seam position, that ball that he bowled to Sai, and everyone's getting out to that ball. How great has Major League and Minor League been for American cricketers the last few years? Well, we didn't used to have natural turf wickets, and now we have Rushil Ugarkar with 9 wickets in 7 innings, an economy around 9, which is absolutely fantastic in a league where you're expecting everything to go for about 10 and over. So combine that with Bolt, who is one of maybe the best bowler in the history of Major League Cricket, and Nosh, who can be used in multiple situations. I think a big thing for New York is going to be avoiding that big over with the ball, choosing their bowling at the right times from the right ends, things like that, because this is going to be, I think, an incredibly tight final. And obviously, to me, one of the biggest talking points is Monank. Is he going to take the league lead here? If he has a good innings, he'll take the league lead in runs, and that's absolutely sensational.
Zee, how about you? What are you looking forward to in this game?
I think, like Nick said, we have the first 2 champions of the league facing off, but I think these are 2 teams who are both saying we have not played our best cricket yet, right? And they are 2 teams that seem to be peaking at the right time. New York very recently, Washington steadily, right? They've been getting better and better after their early stumbles, and it's just going to be an explosive match, right? You've got, like you said, Nate, you've got New York that's got a bowling attack that finally seems like it has its footings. Washington, you have so much depth, right? The last two matches, they've used 7 bowlers each, and they even have a couple more options than that. So depending on the conditions, depending on how people are doing, like they have a lot of options. And so I think on the bowling side, it's going to be interesting for both. And on the batting side, again, both sides have big bats that haven't really come alive until just recently or have been off and on. And if you have both teams firing on all cylinders, right? It's going to be you're going to have like a high total, but then the ability to sort of like to neutralize batters from both bowling attacks. It's just going to be a ridiculous final. Like I can't even going into this, like I can't make a prediction of who's going to win because I think it is such a toss up.
Well, and it's also a theme of momentum that we'll see here in this game as well. The Washington Freedom, they finished #1 in the regular season. They haven't played a game in a week. Last time they played, we were in Lauderhill. Remember, they got rained out in that first qualifier. And so they just walked into the final, and they've been watching. Whilst MI New York, they've been playing every other day. They're carrying such great momentum with them. I think while the toss is always important, you want to bat second. I think it's extra important for Washington to win this toss and get to field first. Field their way back into the game. If they let it go in and bat, I think New York could walk away with it, just given the fact that this is a team that hasn't seen that many deliveries as of late. With the ball in hand, however, I think Washington has to use their least utilized asset on the season, in Ian Holland. I think he's the key for them. The wickets stay dry, or they get better. His slower balls, his change of pace is so vital. I think he can break through a top order that's been brilliant. And when you think about when Nicholas Pooran and Kieran Pollard are in, they are so hard to get out. You almost feel like they have to throw their wicket away. They have to hit their way into the fielder's hands. His changeups are the key for me for Washington with the ball.
Absolutely, Aaman. This is exactly what I was thinking last night during that last partnership with Pooran and Pollard. If Texas had an Ian Holland, that would have been a great spot to toss him in there because he's just as effective, I think, against lefties or righties with that deceptive slower ball that he can just throw out there. I think he's tough to hit. He's tough to hit hard. He's tough to score quickly and big against. And I think that period of the innings, 14th through the 16th or something over, would be a great time to slot him in to break up a potentially huge budding partnership.
Yeah, no question about it. And plenty of questions that will be answered when we get to Championship Sunday. There is some weather about and looming, and we're going to hope that continues to push away and not disrupt what's set to be an unbelievable final. Who becomes the first 2-time champion of MLC? We'll wait and find out. Well, final preparations are in store. We're preparing ourselves for this final, but Washington's been at it, and they've been in the nets really every single day. Nate, what's your thoughts on it? What do you reckon about this Washington Freedom side?
They've been the most consistent team in Major League Cricket throughout the 3 seasons of Major League Cricket. They put together a great team from the start. Michael Klinger did an excellent job selecting this team. I think, yes, they've been waiting for a whole week, but we've seen a lot from their domestic batters, especially where they'll go 3 games without getting a chance and then come through for them in like the last 12 balls. This is a team that I think is used to that, is used to taking their chances when they get them. And yeah, I don't think that the week off is going to hurt them very much.
I think Nate's right on this one. I didn't really want to make a call. I think we can be surprised either way. Yeah. I think it's just so many variables that are up in the air right now. Like it go in like a million different any given Sunday, right? In any case in this league, but also there's so much with these two teams. But I think Nate's got it right.
Yeah, great call there, Nate. But Zee, you also got a chance to talk to some of these individuals, and we got a chance to hear from some of these individuals from the Washington Freedom about their preparations and what they're looking to for this final.
The Washington Freedom are in the final again, a second year in a row. Obviously, you've been a key part of it both years on both sides. What's going to be key to winning this final?
Yeah, obviously it's a privilege to be back in the finals, and we know we love finals cricket. It's always exciting. I have the privilege of being part of two amazing setups with some incredible players, but I think the consistency and backing the way we play, I think that's the most important thing, regardless of what happens. We know cricket's got a lot of variables, so many things can happen, but I guess staying true to ourselves, taking the game on, and having that intent as we've shown throughout the tournament, I guess it landed us in a good position.
We just got to be calm and smart about it, right? The reason why we were first in the group stage because we've been playing the best cricket, and we just got to be consistent in believing that we are the best team out there. And I think it's just about being calm and playing it smart and doing what we've been doing. I think that's a big thing especially with our bowling. If we just keep doing what we've been doing, it's been working for us so well. So it's just about making sure we're sticking to our plans.
It's been obviously a successful year to date. We find ourselves in the final, but I think looking back, certainly at the start of the tournament, we had a little bit of adversity with injuries and changes to our squad. So it's been a very different path to the final this season around, and I think it's a credit to the group, the players, the coaches, the owners to get this far, and hopefully we can go one more again.
I think after that first game, coming back and just getting various players doing the work for us, I think the team contributed really well. We have had some adversity, we have had some injuries, and the squad sort of keeps swapping, but we've really found a good rhythm towards the middle and end of the tournament, and it's been another good year for us.
I think we've been good at sticking to our basics. Each player has played a crucial part in all these games. If all 11 individuals just come in and do their skills to their best, I think we have a good shot at winning. The quality of cricket we're playing throughout the whole season has been great. We had a shaky start and then we pulled it back. So I think if we just keep our composure, keep our bowling lines and lengths simple, and bat to the line of the ball, I think we should be good.
Still feel we probably haven't played like a complete game yet with both bat, ball and field. So if we can put one of them together, then I've got no doubt we'll be on the right side of winning the tournament. But as you know, in finals, pressure can do funny things. But I think we don't have to do too much different to what we've been doing. We've been doing the basics really well, and if we can keep doing that well, then I've got no doubt we'll have a good game Sunday.
This was your first MLC season. Tell us what that experience has been like.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to be here first and foremost. I haven't spent a lot of time in the US, just in transit a couple of times, so it's been nice to be here for a few weeks and experience the country, but to experience the cricket culture that's here and the passionate fans as well.
This was your first time working with Ricky Ponting as a coach. What's that experience been like?
One thing that's really stood out to me is how passionate he is, both about coaching and particularly about the game. And he's always willing to help you out. That's been really apparent in the group that he loves to coach. He loves to develop players.